Well, good Friday morning, Southeast Texas. Skies are partly cloudy across the area this morning. We'll start out with our Roofing 911 Skycam network over in Lake Charles. Partly cloudy skies. You started out in the mid to upper 70s this morning, too. It was a very warm morning, and we knew it would be. Of course, we had the drier air yesterday. Winds were back off the Gulf by late yesterday and overnight last night into this morning, so the humidity came back as expected, and we have partly cloudy skies across Southeast Texas and southwestern Louisiana. On our Roofing 911 Skycam network up in Jasper, same thing, partly cloudy skies. You started out in the mid 70s up in the lakes this morning, and you'll probably warm into the lower to middle 90s coming up this afternoon. Can't rule out an isolated shower coming up later today, but things looking pretty good for high school football tonight. Should be in pretty good shape there. Any showers that do develop, the coverage will be very, very small. Now, we do expect a little bit better coverage later tonight, tomorrow, up to about 30% as a cold front begins to work down from the north, which we'll get into all that coming up in just a moment. And our Roofing 911 Skycam network over in Orange, sponsored by the Horseman's Western Store. You have partly cloudy skies as well. And we started out in the Triangle this morning in the mid to upper 70s. In fact, you get into the areas, urban areas, Heat Island, you start factoring in all the metal and concrete and all that. There was upper 70s for lows, and we'll see the same thing tonight. It's going to be a warm, muggy night tonight across Southeast Texas. Probably low to mid 70s lakes, upper 70s here in the Triangle, and already 91 degrees over in Orange. It'll be a hot afternoon, looking at low to mid 90s across the area. Very little, if any, chance of rain. And our other Roofing 911 Skycam camera here in Beaumont, sponsored by Packard and LaPrade. Partly cloudy skies. Notice certainly low levels anyway. Plenty of moisture compared to what we had yesterday. We had no clouds at all yesterday, and we were talking about that, how you don't see that very often, but we have the clouds back today as that humidity has increased off the Gulf of Mexico. Moisture at about 2,500 to 5,000 feet beginning to increase. Temperatures right now are in the upper 80s, close to 90 degrees. Once again, topping out, low to mid 90s coming up this afternoon. So if you're heading to the high school football games tonight, you will need short sleeves. That's for sure. And outside our 12 studios, our Roofing 911 Skycam network, sponsored by Mid-County Plumbing. Looks the same, partly cloudy skies, no rain on radar, but very small chance up in the lakes area, possible later today. See off in the distance, visibility is looking pretty good. Now here in Beaumont, it was, it's warmer at night, especially in the late summer, early fall. We have what we call the heat island effect, all the concrete, all the buildings around producing more heat. So we were in the upper 70s this morning. You get outside of the heat island, you get more in the rural areas, temperatures can be as much as 2 or 3 degrees cooler. And that's what we saw. And of course, we already showed you Lake Charles. They have partly cloudy skies as well. Allergy report, well, it's picked up a little bit again, unfortunately, especially in the tree. And the weeds picked up just in the last couple of days. The grass still not too bad, and even that's in the medium. But of course, the mold continues to be heavy, as well as the weed. And even as I said, the tree has picked up a little bit too. Tree pollen across Southeast Texas. So we'll see if we see any improvement in that at all over the weekend. I know a lot of people are suffering with allergies and things like that over the last week or two. So maybe this will improve a little bit. Right now, not expecting it to a whole lot. All right, temperatures across the area right now, 88 Lake Charles, 87 to Quincy, Kirbyville, 86 in Jasper, 89 degrees in Houston, 88 in Huntsville. So yes, it's a warm morning, that's for sure, across the area. It'll be a hot afternoon and humid with highs in the lower to middle 90s across the area. We do have a light southerly wind, though, off the Gulf of Mexico. That helps a little bit. All right, let's take a look at radar. It's quiet as well. You notice the wind direction. That's easy to see, southwest to northeast. So the wind's back in a more southerly direction. That has brought that humidity back in. You can see that as well, but nothing on radar anywhere. Northeastern Louisiana back down into southeast Texas. Nothing along the coast, but later today, 1 or 2 small ones may pop up in the lakes area. 10% coverage or less. So that'll jump to 20% overnight tonight for the lakes, especially after about midnight. So about 20% coverage there as that next front starts working a little bit closer to the area. And of course, as we head into tomorrow, we'll give it a 30% coverage area wide of scattered showers and thunderstorms. Across the state, first we have partly cloudy skies here locally on into Louisiana. Partly sunny to lots of clouds across western Texas, that's for sure. Even some light to moderate rain across portions of southeastern New Mexico and West Texas around Pecos, a little upper level disturbance there, helping to produce the rain. And here's our cold front. It runs from just north of Memphis to Fort Smith, right over Oklahoma City or just south of there, back into the Texas Panhandle. This front will move into our area tomorrow night into very early Sunday. So throughout the day on Sunday, we'll start seeing the atmosphere dry out. So the rain chances or coverages may be a little bit better tomorrow than actually on a Sunday, which we'll get to all that coming up in just a moment. But that front will arrive, as we said, tomorrow night, and we'll start seeing on Sunday some drier air slowly beginning to work into the air. Of course, the main dynamics, main lift will be off to our north and northeast coming up over the next 2 days. So that front working in. Across the rest of the nation, a few showers in Florida this morning. The southeast pretty quiet. A little bit of activity on the northern Great Lakes. An upper level storm moving to the northeast across southeastern Canada. Some showers and thunderstorms across portions of western Arizona this morning, and the jet stream taking a little bit of a dip into the central plains. That's what's producing the showers and storms behind the front across portions of eastern Colorado on into central and southern Kansas into western Missouri. Nothing severe there, just general rains, but trough dipping down there, shortwave trough. That'll kick off some pretty big storms later today across west central Arkansas on up into Missouri. Could be some pretty heavy thunderstorms there, but that's where the main dynamics will be well north of us. So once the front gets here, of course, we'll have just some scattered showers and a few thunderstorms locally in our forecast. The Pacific Northwest, a little bit of shower activity there. All right, let's take a look at futurecast for the rest of the afternoon. We know it's going to be hot and humid with a lower 90s for highs, partly cloudy skies, not much of a chance of rain at all. Can't rule out 1 or 2 showers popping in the lakes, but it's a very small coverage today at 10% or less. So tonight for high school football, things are looking good. Of course, it's going to be warm during those games. We're looking at temperatures in the 80s, upper 80s, still close to 90 at kickoff, and slowly falling throughout the 80s throughout the game. And as we head into the late evening hours, temperatures, as you see here, still around 80, 82 at 10 o'clock tonight. So yes, a very warm evening, even up the lakes. Notice the wind direction off the Gulf, south wind. So yeah, we know it's going to be a warm, humid evening and night for sure across southeast Texas and the lakes area. And as we head throughout the overnight hours into tomorrow morning, we'll drop into the mid to upper 70s. Another, of course, very warm night coming up. Notice maybe a few showers maybe trying to develop along that front north of the lakes early tomorrow morning. Once again, we'll give it a 30% coverage, showers and thunderstorms tomorrow at best, with the main lift and energy well to our northeast. That's, of course, where the best coverages of showers and thunderstorms will be, but we'll have a few around, and as we head into tomorrow afternoon, a few hanging around. Notice the temperatures here at 3 o'clock tomorrow. We're close to 90 in the triangle. We'll have more clouds tomorrow and today. Upper 80s to around 90, 90 at Kirbyville, 80. Notice how we're cooling off the farther north we get. Burkeville, 83. So that front's going to make actually a little bit of a difference, as you'll see as well on our 7A forecast coming up in just a moment. And then tomorrow afternoon, still a few widely scattered showers around. Now let's take a look at the tropics. Yesterday, the disturbance in the far eastern Atlantic looked a little more promising, looked like it was trying to get its act together. Not the case overnight into this morning, very disorganized. There's still a very good chance, though, that this will develop as it works to the west over the next several days, but there's also a chance it could completely fall apart, too. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Of course, here's the Windward and Leeward Islands. What's left of the system, if it even survives, will be close to the islands coming up, let's say, by next Wednesday, middle of next week. So hopefully it'll just dissipate, fall apart. Otherwise, look at the rest of the North Atlantic. Very, very quiet, nothing going on in the Caribbean. Of course, the Gulf of Mexico, very quiet as well. 90% chance of this still developing. We'll see. We'll see how that pans out on down the line. Now here's a look at the system here. This is at 5,000 feet above the surface. This is the low level spin with a tropical disturbance way out in the Atlantic, and I'm going to put this into motion. Watch how it just dissipates and falls apart over the next several days. Well, we like to see that, especially as it heads toward the Windward and Leeward Islands. But notice in the Atlantic, Caribbean, Gulf of Mexico, nothing at all. And we're in the second week now of September coming up, so hopefully that trend will continue when we get through this thing without any issues. Looks good, at least as of right now. All right, your marine forecast, we're going to continue with south winds 5 to 10 knots, seas around 2 feet today, tonight, and for tomorrow morning. And our winds will eventually become northeasterly behind that front coming up late in the day tomorrow. Water temperature in the upper 80s. The rest of the day, partly cloudy. We'll keep rain out of the forecast, 10% or less for the lakes this evening. Low 90s, about 92, 93. Wouldn't be shocked still to see a 94 or so here and there. It's not out of the question. And as we head into tonight, partly to mostly cloudy, 20% coverage of showers and thunderstorms for the lakes areas. That front starts getting a little bit closer. We'll keep rain completely out of the triangle. And of course for inland southeast Texas, very warm night, low to mid 70s lakes, upper 70s here in the triangle, probably a little bit warmer in 76. This morning we had 77, even some 78s, 79s down toward Port Arthur. So the bottom line is a very warm, muggy night coming up. That is for sure across the region. All right, let's talk about the 7-day forecast a little bit. Any weekend plans? Well, we'll have some scattered showers, maybe a thunderstorm or two around tomorrow as that front starts working in at 30%. The front pushes just offshore Sunday, but still some lingering moisture. We will start to slowly dry out throughout the day on Sunday. So lots of clouds. We'll give it a 20% coverage, a few showers there. By Monday, we start out with clouds. We'll clear throughout the day. We'll have a little bit of a northeast wind. It's going to be very nice on Monday, too. Upper 80s for highs, lower humidity, down to 69 for a low. Tuesday morning when you wake up, that's going to be the nice morning, 64, 65 for a low, low 60s in the lakes. Now, that's going to be a nice morning there with clear skies, lots of sun up to about 90. Still pretty comfortable next Wednesday morning at 68, 91. And then, of course, as we head toward the end of next week, we'll start getting that humidity back a little bit as south winds return off of the Gulf of Mexico. So it's going to be a nice week coming up next week. Now, if you want rain or need the rain, you'll have a little bit of a chance tomorrow, slight chance on Sunday, but next week looks dry with lower humidity. Let's see if we've had any questions come in this morning. Of course, feel free to text us and we'll get back with you when we can, as soon as we can. That number is 409-749-9302. You have any weather questions, any questions about the tropics or the weekend coming up, the nice weather we're expecting next week with that lower humidity, of course, feel free to send us a text and we will get back with you on that as soon as we see it, and we'll respond back to you. But the overall forecast looking pretty good. You know, certainly no washout this weekend, that's for sure. We're expecting highs still pretty hot tomorrow with scattered thunderstorms. We'll give it a 30% coverage and it drops to 20% on Sunday. But once again, next week looking very, very nice. We'll clear out Monday. We're going to start with some clouds on Monday. Monday morning, probably still mostly cloudy. Should have put a little bit bigger cloud on there, I guess, but it'll be clearing in the afternoon. 89 on Monday, 69 the low, 90 Tuesday. Tuesday morning, when you wake up, that 65 we talked about a while ago, very, very nice. That means some low 60s up in the lakes. Kind of a